Xanten, German pronunciation, ksantän, Lower Franconian Santen, is a town in the state of North Rhine-Westphalia, Germany. It is located in the district of Wesel. Xanten is known for the Archaeological Park, one of the largest archaeological open-air museums in the world, built at the site of the Roman settlements Colonia Ulpia Traiana. Other attractions include the medieval town center with Xanten Cathedral, many museums, and large man-made lakes for various watersport activities. Xanten is visited by approximately 1 million tourists a year. Xanten, the only German town whose name begins with X, is made up of 3 boroughs: Ortsteil Hochbruch, Niederbruch, and the town center. Other localities, Bezirk, belonging to the town of Xanten include Bertan, Luttingen, Marienbaum, Weiden, Obermormter, Ward, Mormter, Willich, Beek, and Ursel. Parts of a nature reserve called Bislicher Insel are located in the municipality as well. The town borders the Lower Rhine and the town of Ries to the north, the town of Wesel to the east, the municipalities of Alpen and Sunsbeck to the south, and the towns of Weiden and Kalkar to the west. The closest international airport is Wies Airport, also called Niederrhein Airport, Ryanair Hub, in Wies, 25 kilometers. The closest intercontinental airport is Düsseldorf Airport, 60 kilometers. The first settlements by isolated tribes can be dated to around the year 2000 BC. Around 15 BC, the Roman castrum or Camp Vectera was created on the Fürstenberg near modern-day Bertan. It was intended as a base for campaigns into Germania, and until its destruction during the revolt of the Batavi in 70 AD it was occupied by 8,000 to 10,000 legionaries, and was the main base of the Classis Germanica. After the destruction of Vectera, a second camp became established at the Bislicher Insel, named Katra Vectera II, which became the base camp of Legio VI Victrix. A nearby created settlement, which was inhabited by 10,000 to 15,000 former legionaries and others, was given the rights of a colonia in 110 AD by the Roman Emperor Marcus Ulpius Traianus, who renamed the town Colonia Ulpia Traiana. The colonia was a completely new town with a town wall and other buildings like an amphitheater. For this town the old settlement was completely destroyed. The colonia became the second most important commercial post in the province of Germania Inferior, surpassed only by Colonia Agrippinensis, today's Cologne. In 122, Vectera II became the camp of Legio XXX Ulpia Victrix, replacing 6 Victrix which had moved to Britannia. In 275 the colonia was almost destroyed by Germanic tribes. Subsequently, in 310 in the area of the colonia a new town was established, named Tricentum, of the 30th, which was built on the 9 central insula of the former colonia but fortified and more easily defended. At the beginning of the 5th century, assaults by Germanic tribes rapidly increased, with the result that Tricentum was finally given up. In 363, during the reign of Julian, the Christian victor of Xanten is supposed to have been executed together with 360 other members of the Theban legion near the modern town of Bertan for refusing to sacrifice to the Roman gods. Considered a martyr and a saint by the Roman Catholic Church as well as the Eastern Orthodox Church, Victor of Xanten is commemorated in Xanten Cathedral, where his relics are kept in a shrine embedded in the high altar. In the 5th century the Franks began to settle in the area of today's Xanten, but no urban settlements have been found from this time as the Franks did not build in stone, unlike the Romans. Only graves from this time have been discovered. According to the legend of the Nibelungs, the mythical Siegfried of Xanten was born ßanten in den Rhein. In the second half of the 8th century a church was built on the grounds of an old cemetery of the ancient Roman colony and called Sanctos Superinum, also mentioned as ad Sanctum. The name of Place of Saints was derived from the assumed grave of the martyr Victor of Xanten and is the source of today's municipal name of Xanten. After the establishment of a convent to the south, what became today's town center grew into existence. In 939 troops under Otto I, King of Germany defeated rebellious Franconian, Saxon, and Lotharingian troops under Eberhard of Franconia in the Battle of Bertan near Xanten. Following the Battle of Andernach the same year the Rhineland was reaffirmed to the kingdom of Otto I. While Xanten, with its rich Victor convent, was still being besieged by Norsemen in 863, in 1122 the place already appears as part of a trading network at the Lower Rhine. On July 15, 1228, Xanten was given town rights by the Archbishop of Cologne, Heinrich of Molnarch. Xanten had a Jewish community in early medieval times. 2 massacres of Jews occurred during the First Crusade, on 1 and June 27, 1096. On the latter occasion, some Jews committed suicide in order to escape the fury of the Crusaders. In 1263, the foundation stone for the Gothic St. Victor Cathedral was laid. After 281 years of construction, it was finally completed in 1544. By the end of the 14th century, Xanten was surrounded by a town wall. In 1392, the northern part of the town came into the possession of the Dukes of Cleves, while the southern part remained with the Archbishopric of Cologne. The division of Xanten was a cause of a conflict between Cleves and Cologne, which ended when the whole of Xanten was awarded to the Duchy of Cleves in 1444. After being taken by the Dukes of Cleves, in the wake of war and crop failure, the number of inhabitants slumped from 5,000 at the beginning of the 16th century to approximately 2,500 by the end of the 18th century. The Rhine had been a basis of Xanten's status as a trading town until the riverbed shifted away from the town, causing its economic situation to deteriorate. The river even flooded and destroyed the locality of Berten several times. The borough Marienborn, however, became the main place of pilgrimage on the Lower Rhine between 1430 and 1441. In 1460, a monastery of the Brigittines was established, with an abbey church called St. Maria Himmelfahrt, Assumption of Mary, which nowadays serves as a parish church. In the 17th century, Xanten was, along with Cleves, inherited by the Margraviate of Brandenburg. Protestantism was placed on an equal footing with the Roman Catholic Church, as confirmed by the Treaty of Xanten on November 12, 1614. Thereupon a church was built at the Grosser Market, Great Marketplace, which was expanded with a spire in 1622. Nevertheless, at the beginning of the 20th century, only 5% of the population were of Protestant denomination. By the beginning of the 21st century, the Protestant share of the population had increased to some 20%. In 1802, the Victor Convent was secularized by Napoleon Bonaparte, and the libraries of closed monasteries and the convent library were merged. After that, the economic situation deteriorated more rapidly. A town gate called the Marsttor was torn down in 1821, and the charter and parts of the town walls were removed in 1825. The removal of the Clevertor and a mill called Kriemhildmal was prevented by a town councillor in 1843. At the same time, the ruins of the Colonia Ulpia Traiana, which had been used as a quarry since the Roman settlement was given up, aroused the interest of archaeologists. Xanten was administered within the Prussian Rhine province from 1822 to 1945. Between 1819 and 1844, excavations were carried out at the Roman ruins. In September 1927, the Catholic Church municipality celebrated its 1,600th anniversary. In 1937, Pope Pius XI granted the right for the Cathedral of St. Victor to be called a Basilica Minor. In the later part of the 19th century, there was a high-profile case of alleged ritual murder, also known as blood libel. On June 29, 1891, Johann Heetzmann, the 5-year-old son of a local cabinet maker, was found dead in a neighbor's barn, with his throat cut from ear to ear. Anti-Semitic agitation connected the Jewish butcher and former Jew Adolf Bischoff with this crime, and the local priest, Father Bresser, lent support to this rumor by publishing articles on ritual murder in the paper Boat Verstockt Land, which he edited. The agitation in the anti-Semitic press, as well as at anti-Semitic meetings, where it was insinuated that the Jews had bribed or intimidated the authorities in order to prevent the discovery of the truth, compelled the government to arrest Bischoff and his family, October 14, 1891. The evidence against the man, who had always borne a good reputation, was so flimsy, however, that he was discharged, December 20. This action aroused the anti-Semites to still stronger agitation, which culminated in a heated debate in the Prussian Diet. In the course of this argument, Sturcker, the ex-court chaplain, repeated the accusation of ritual murder, and hinted at Jewish influence as the cause of the failure to find the murderer, February 7, 1892. Under pressure from this agitation, Bischoff was rearrested, February 8, and tried before a jury at Cleves, 4 to 14 July 1892. During this trial, it was found that the accusations were based on mere hearsay and contained impossible assertions. The prosecuting attorney himself moved for the dismissal of the charge, and the jury rendered its verdict accordingly. The real murderer was never discovered, and the possibility that the death of the child was due to an accident was not entirely disproved. The agitation had the effect of reducing the Jewish population of the town, and Bischoff himself had to leave. In 1905, Xanten had about 30 Jews out of a total population of 3,770. In 1933, Mayor Heinrich Wagner was locked up in a tower called the Meerturm, accused of alleged nepotism in the loan business. His successor was Friedrich Karl Schönborn, while the post of deputy mayor was given to Heinrich Prang Jr. Prang had already created a local group of the NSDAP in 1925. As the local council of the Deutsche Zentrumspartei was dissolved, 3 of formerly 8 town council members were group members of the NSDAP. The remaining opposition consisted of communists and liberal politicians lacking a clear political mandate. The following years saw harassment of the Jewish population of Xanten. This included the destruction of the local prayer room and the devastation of several dwellings of Jewish inhabitants on Reichskristallnacht of November 9, 1938. After these events, the entire Jewish population fled Xanten. In May 1940, the German 256th Infantry Division was transferred to Xanten to take part in the forthcoming invasion of the Netherlands. During the Second World War, an ammunition factory of the Luftwaffe was established in a small forest close to the town, called Diehes. While citizens of Xanten worked there at the beginning of the war, women and children, and especially foreigners, were forced to perform hard labor at the plant as the war progressed. Incidents in the area of the factory occurred in November 1942 and October 1944, causing the explosion of a portion of the stored ammunition, which cost several workers' lives. When Allied troops reached Xanten in February 1945, Mayor Schönborn left the town. With him fled almost the entire town administration to areas to the east. In the same month, the bombardment of the town had begun, killing civilians and destroying parts of Xanten. In addition, the cathedral was hit by Allied bombs and damaged heavily. On March 8, 1945, Xanten was finally taken by Canadian troops. The Canadian military lost, according to their own data, 400 soldiers in the fight against the defending Fallschirmjäger paratroops, under the command of Eugen Meindl. Thereupon the town, 85% of which had already been destroyed, was occupied by British troops, while the population was evacuated to Bedburghau in preparation for the crossing of the Rhine near the town of Wesel. Artillery projectiles fired by German soldiers from the right bank of the Rhine further devastated Xanten at this time. When the crossing of the Rhine finally succeeded on March 24, 1945, the Second World War was over for Xanten. The reconstruction of the town and the cathedral was influenced particularly by the archaeologist and monument conservationist Walter Bader, and lasted until 1966. Expelled Lees from East Prussia were resettled in Xanten and caused the population to rise by almost 40%. In the course of the local reorganization in 1969, the localities Bertan, Luttingen, Marienborn, Obermorter, Weinen, and Wort were integrated into Xanten, so that around 16,000 inhabitants lived within the town boundaries. The area of the town increased from 8 square kilometers to 72 square kilometers. In 1975, the Archaeologischer Park Xanten, Xanten Archaeological Park, a partial reconstruction of the Roman Colonia Ulpia Traiana, was established and opened for tourism. On November 28, 1988, Xanten was granted the title of a Städtliche anerkannter Erholungsort, state-recognized leisure town, as the first such town in the region of Düsseldorf. Between 1990 and 2004, the number of inhabitants rose from 16,930 to about 22,000. The Archaeologischer Park Xanten is built on the site of the Roman town, and it is one of the most frequently visited parks in Germany. In 2012, the Archaeological Park was expanded to nearly the whole area of the Roman Colonia after Bundesstraße 57 was moved away from the area. Historical buildings in the town center have been restored. At the Xantener Südsee and Xantener Nordsee, 2 lakes connected by a channel close to the localities Wort and Weinen, the Freizeitzentrum Xanten, Xanten Leisure Center, was established in 1982. Today, it is a popular destination for sailors. Big events include the Xantener Sommerfestspiel, a prestigious classical music festival lasting 2 weeks every summer from 1993 to 2012, the annual Klein Montmartre where artists from all over the world show their latest works, as well as the annual German Sandcastle Building Championship. Among other schools there is one gymnasium, grammar school, the Stiftsgymnasium Xanten, and a private school for girls, the Marienschule, in Xanten. Xanten is twinned with Geel in Belgium, Saints in France, Salisbury in the United Kingdom, and Beit-Sahour in the Palestinian National Authority. The following persons were born in Xanten or in the local boroughs of Xanten. Circa 1075, Norbert of Xanten, died 1134, Catholic bishop and founder of the Premonstratensians. 1230, Gottfried Hagen, died 1299, Cologne city writer. 1794, Diederik Franz Leonard von Schlechtendel, died 1866, botanist. 1828, George Bleibtreuch, died 1892, battle painter. 1829, Johannes Janssen, died 1891, historian. 1935, Reinhard Maurer, philosopher. Julius Erroneus, Regessen, p. 89, number 188, p. 92, number 195. In 1187 the martyrs of Neuss were brought to Xanten to be buried by the side of those martyred in 1096, p. 144, number 322. Mitteilungen aus dem Verein zur Abwehr des Antisemitismus, 1892, Index, SV Xanten in Bischof. Allgemeine Zeitung des Judentums 1892, NOS 29-31. Der Prozessbischof, Leipzig, 1892. Paul Nathan, Der Prozessbischof, Berlin, 1892. Der Prozess Xanten Cleve, Ibid. Der Nebenmord in Xanten vor dem Schwergericht zu Cleve vom 4. bis 14. July 1892, Berlin, 1893, a complete stenographic record. Holger Schmenck, Xanten M19. Jahrhundert, ein rheinische Kleinstadtszwischen Tradition und Modern, Cologne/Weimar/Vienna, Bolo 2008. ISBN 9783412201517.